Welcome, geometry students, to the homework help video, page 47, numbers 5 through 12 and numbers 19 through 26. Let's go ahead and get started. The directions for 5 through 8 say draw a segment or angle that has the indicated measure and then use only a straight edge and a compass to make a copy. So here we go. We're going to copy a 1.5 inch segment. Now, of course, I'm not going to measure 1.5. I'm going to draw a segment like this, and we're going to pretend it's 1.5 inches. On your homework paper, be sure and measure 1.5 inches, okay? So 1.5 inches. All right, what I taught you to do is anytime you're copying a segment, the first thing you do is draw a segment longer than the one you're copying. And by the way, we're going to call this segment AB, so we're going to copy segment AB, and we're going to call this segment, we're going to put endpoint M, okay? Next, you take your compass and you open it up to the length of AB, the segment you're copying. So you put your needle right here and you put your pencil right here, and then you pick up your compass and come down here and put your needle right there, and you make a little slash about right there, okay? I'm just estimating. And let's call this point N. So segment AB is 1.5 inches. Segment MN should also be 1.5 inches if you did it correctly, okay? Okay, moving on to number 6. You are to copy a segment that is 6 centimeters. So pretend that I measured this out and pretend that it's 6 centimeters. And again, I'm not trying to do that perfectly. And we're going to call this segment, I don't know, we'll call it BD. Okay, so we're going to copy segment BD. Well, step one is to draw a segment that's longer than the one you're copying, and we're going to call this X. Okay, and so what you do now is you open up your compass to the length of BD. So you put your point here and your pencil here, or vice versa, and then you pick up your compass and put your needle right here. And the slash should be about right there. Put a little slash on the line, and we're going to call that point Z. And so segment if segment BD is 6 centimeters, then segment segment XZ should also be 6 centimeters. Okay. All right. Continuing on, they want us to draw a 45-degree angle. And don't forget, 45 is half of 90, okay? So if that is my 90-degree angle right there, I'm going to then cut it in half, and I should have my 45-degree angle. So I'll try to do that. It's pretty good. That'll work for now, I think. So let me bring that down there, and let me quickly erase this part. And there we go. It's good enough. That is my 45-degree angle. So I've drawn a 45-degree angle, and now we're going to copy that angle, okay? So the first thing that we do, if you remember your steps that I've given you, the first thing that you do is you draw a ray, and let's go ahead and give this angle a name. I guess we'll call it angle C for just lack of a better name. And let's go ahead and draw our ray, and we'll put our ray right here, okay? And we're going to call this ray, I guess we'll put an endpoint here of B. All right. So the first thing you do, step one, if you're going to copy an angle, is you draw a ray. Next, you open your compass up to about half the length of one of your rays. So put your needle here, and you put your pencil about right here. Okay, and you're going to draw a circle. And so the circle should look something like this. That's good enough. Maybe I can make it a tad bigger, just a little bit. There we go. And so you would want to draw a circle, and then keeping your compass at that exact same measurement, you want to then pick up your needle and draw an exact same circle down here on this ray, with B being your center. There we go. Okay, so step one, draw a ray. Step two, open up your compass to about half the length of your ray and draw a circle on C and draw a circle on B. Now next, you open up your compass to, let's call these intersection points. Let's give them a name. We're going to call this A for no certain reason, I guess T, like cat. So there we go. And we're going to call this intersection point here H. Now you open up your compass to the length of TA. So put your needle on T and your pencil on A. And then when you've opened it up to the right distance, come down here and put your needle on H, and then you'll put a slash on the circle like that, or you could come down here and put it on this part down here. It doesn't matter, either way is fine. And we're going to call this point G, and then we're going to draw ray BG, and there we go. This angle right here is congruent to this angle right here. All right, moving on to number 8. Now number 8 has excuse me, number 8 has asked us to draw an angle of 120 degrees, and so that's 90. And actually what I should do, let me back up and do this. That's 90, and the reason it's so important that I do it like this is I'm now going to take this and kind of rotate it 30 more degrees, which would be that. So that's about 120 degrees. And again, I'm just estimating. You do not have to have it. You have a protractor, so you can measure 120 degrees. Okay, so this is going to be 120 degrees. And let's also call this angle A, so that we're going to copy angle A. Students, here we go. Step 1, of course, is to draw a ray. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a ray right here. And we're going to call the endpoint probably endpoint letter D. And then next we're going to open up our compass so that it's about half the length of one of our rays, and so we will have a circle, and I guess the circle will be about this big. That's not really a very good circle. We'll try that again, and still not very successful, and so we'll go like this and see if we can't make it a better circle. All right, now so we're going to say that we opened our compass up from about here to here, and we made a circle. And so the circle would be right here with A at the center, of course, right there. And then we're going to put this exact same circle right over here. And we're going to give names to these intersection points. We're going to call this B, and we're going to call this C. All right? And we're going to call this E. And then next, now listen carefully, students, next you open your compass up of the distance CB. So you put your needle here, and you put your pencil here, and then picking up your compass, you come down here and you put your needle on D right here, and you come up here and you put your slash mark. And of course, I'm just kind of estimating where it would be. I believe it would be about right here, okay? And you label that point right there, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to call it F. And so now I'm going to draw ray DF, okay? Like that. There we go. And so if all has gone well, this angle right here should also be 120 degrees. Okay, moving on to numbers 9 through 12. Now what we're going to do now is we're going to draw the figure they want us to draw. Excuse me for a second. And then we're going to bisect it or cut it in half. So they want us to draw a 1/4 foot segment, or in other words, think about it, 3 inches. So we're going to pretend this is 3 inches, okay? And so there's my segment. We're going to call that 3 inches, and they want us to bisect it. We're going to call this segment XY, okay? Now what I taught you to do when you're bisecting a segment is to open up your compass so that it's obviously more than half. So I'm going to put my needle right here, and I'm going to put my pencil right here, okay? So that's how much I'm going to open my compass, okay? And then with that in mind, I'm going to draw a couple circles, okay? And so first of all, again, open up your compass so that your needle is on one of the endpoints and the pencil is past halfway, all right? And so with that in mind, let's go ahead and see if we can't get a circle here drawn. And we can always fix that circle and make it more circular, if you will. And so let's go ahead and put this right here. And it needs to be a little bigger, it looks like. So let's go like this. There we go. And that looks pretty good, close enough. It's not going to be perfect, but good enough. And so what you do is you open up your compass to, like I said, to the, hold on one second, students. Okay, sorry about that. The circle's a little too big. Make it a little smaller. There we go. Because remember, that's my fault. You put your compass right on. It's still a little too big. we go. Shrink it down a little more. Sorry about that. And there we go. Now, remember, you put your needle right here on the end point, and then you draw your circle, and then you leave your compass at the exact same measurement, and then you pick up the needle and you put it over here on this part, the end point, and there we go. And then this point here and this point here, I guess we can call those whatever points we want to call them. I guess we'll call them A and B. And so we then draw line AB, and that's not perfect, but we'll kind of make it work a little bit. There we go. And then this point right here is supposed to be right in the middle. We'll call that point E. So really you could say segment XE is congruent to segment EY. And remember, the entire segment was 3 inches. So really you could say from X to E we have 1.5 inches, and from E to Y we have 1.5 inches. Okay, let's take a look at number 10. Okay, they want us to draw a 5/2 inch segment. Now you should know by now that 5/2 does mean 2.5. So you need to draw a 2.5 inch segment, and of course I'm just estimating here, but in your case go ahead and measure out a 2.5 inch segment. And then again, to find the bisector, to cut this segment in half, you open up your compass so that it's more than half of the segment, and then of course you put your needle here and draw a circle, and put your needle here and draw a circle. So I'm going to go ahead and quickly estimate what we're looking at here. It should be a circle about this big, I suppose, like that. That's not bad at all. We'll take that. That's actually pretty good. And then we'll do the same thing, putting our needle over here, and there we go. So my 2 intersection points here, I should give these some names. We'll call this M and we'll call this N, and these 2 intersection points here will be G and H. And then next, of course, we connect points G and H, doing the best we can, of course, to do that. And this segment, I know it's not perfect, but this segment here should be going right through. Remember, I'm doing a lot of this just freehand without really having a compass. This point right here should be in the middle. We're going to call this point A. So now think about this for a second, students. If the entire length of M all the way to N is 2.5 inches, well, if you take 2.5 and you cut it in half, you'll get the measurement of MA. And what would that be? Well, 2.5 is 5/2. So you take 5/2 and you cut it in half. You divide it by 2, or you multiply it by 1/2. And what you'll get is 5/4, which is the same thing as 1 1/4. So the measurement from M to A is 1 1/4, and the measurement from A to N is 1 1/4. Okay? All right. Let's go ahead and continue on. Okay, we're going to draw a 30-degree angle, which is what they've asked us to do. That's good enough. And we're going to bisect that angle, okay? So here's what you were taught to do in your notes before. When you're bisecting an angle or cutting it in half, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to give this a name. We'll call it angle A. And then you open up your compass to approximately, this is just a point of reference, it doesn't have to be exact, but you open your compass up to about half the length of this angle, or in other words, about half the length of a ray. So I'm going to open up my compass to about right here, and I'm going to draw a circle. And I forgot to put that on copy mode, so hold on one second. I'm going to draw a circle here. There we go. All right, so here's what we did, okay? We opened our compass up to about half the length of a ray, and then we put our needle on A, and we drew a circle, okay? And we're going to label these 2 points. We'll call this point here B, and we'll call this point here C, okay? Then next, students, you open your compass up to the length of CB. So put your needle on C and put your pencil on B, or vice versa, and open your compass up to that length. Then you put your needle here on C and you put a slash out here. Then you put your needle on B and you put a slash out here, okay? One that would come up and look like that. Okay, so your slashes should intersect. And again, remember, I'm doing this freehand, so mine's not going to be perfect. And then you you label that intersection point, whatever you want to call it. I'll call it D. And then you draw the ray from A to D. And theoretically, if you've done it well with your compass and done it well, mine's not perfect. Again, I freelanced it a little bit. You understand that, okay? But if you do this correctly, and let me try to get this right. Hold on one second. Then this angle right here with the dot is going to be the same as this angle here because you cut this big angle right here right in half. Okay, let's try number 12. Number 12. Okay, we're going to cut angle 135 in half. So here we go. We're going to quickly draw a ray, and then this. That's about 135 degrees approximately. There we go. And not sure what happened there. And there. So we got an angle that's about 135 degrees. Now we're going to cut this in half. So first of all, we're going to give this an angle a name. We're going to call it G. And then next, we're going to open our compass up to about half the length of this ray. And we're going to put our needle here and draw a circle. So your circle will look something like this. Let me go ahead and line that up so G is in the middle. That's pretty good, okay? So there we go. We're going to call these two intersection points here X and Y. And now open up your compass to the distance between X and Y. Put your pencil on X and your needle on Y, or vice versa. And then if you do that correctly, and put your needle here and do a slash, you should get a slash right here, and you should get a slash about right here, okay? And then of course we call this intersection point here, whatever you want to call it, I'll call it H. And then you connect G and H. So we'll put a ray here going straight out to G and A. And that's not perfect. Again, I know that, and I'm not using a compass. I'm just doing it freehand, okay? But this angle right here that I'm putting a little red mark on, and this angle right here I'm putting a red mark on, should be congruent because you took the big angle YGX, and you cut it in half with an angle bisector, okay? All right, moving on now to some more difficult problems. Okay, let's move on to number 19. Now, number 19 says to take this segment right here and divide it into 4 equal segments, okay? Now, think about that for a second, students. We really do know how to do this. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. You should understand how to do this. If I were to cut this segment in half, I'd have a point here. And then if I were to cut this segment in half, I would have a point here. And then if I were to cut this segment over here in half, I would have a point here. And look what I have. I have 4 congruent segments. So all that we're going to do is we're going to take ST and cut it in half. We know how to do that. And then we're going to take this small segment here and cut it in half, and then the small segment over here and cut it in half. So it's really not too difficult to do. So here we go. First of all, I'm going to take my compass and I'm going to open it to a little more than half of the entire segment. And then I'm going to go ahead and draw a circle here. That's not too bad. Might not be big enough. We'll see. So we'll put that right there. Not too bad. It'll work. And we'll take this circle right here and put it right over here. And there we go. And we're going to draw my segment right here, and we're going to call this segment right here X. Now with your pencil, and you're more than welcome to do this with a pencil, I would encourage you to erase these circles if you want to. It might be a lot easier because what you have now is you have X right in the middle, and now what you're going to do is you're going to divide ST or SX. You're going to divide SX in half and then XT in half. So you open up your compass to a little more than half the distance of SX X, and then you go ahead and draw your circle, putting your needle on S. So it should look something like this. I'm just estimating it. That's not too bad. And so I'm going to slide the circle over here. There we go. And again, I'm freelancing it, so mine's not going to be perfect because I'm really not using a compass like you are. Okay. All right, not too bad. And we're going to call this point here and this point here, I guess, A and B, and then we draw our line, and then we have this point right here. Okay. Now, having done that, I'm going to go ahead and pull this segment away. I'm going to use the same circle again just a second, and I'm going to use the same circle again for over here. And let's call this point right here U. Okay, there we go. All right, now let's go ahead, and now we're going to take segment XT and cut it in half. So we open up our compass a little more than halfway of the distance between X and T. Okay, let me say that again. We open up our compass to a little more than half the distance of X and T, and we're going to put this right here, and then we would put this right here. We would then draw our circles like we learned in our notes, and then we have this intersection point here and this intersection point here, and then we go ahead and draw the line that connects those 2 points and then put a point right here. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all of these things because they're really in the way. They hinder us from seeing what we're really trying to see here. Now, notice what I've done. If you can, please, okay, look carefully. I have taken segment ST, and although it doesn't look perfect because it's not perfect, but I've taken segment ST, and I first divided it in half, and then I took SX and divided it in half, and then I took XT and I divided it in half. So this segment here, SU, is congruent to segment UX, and UX is congruent to segment, we'll call this B, segment XB, and segment XB is congruent to segment BT. All 4 of these little segments are congruent. Okay, moving on to number 20. And here we go. We're going to construct a segment whose length is twice this length. So to me, it is common sense that I'm going to draw a segment that's really, really long. Okay, it should be longer than twice this segment here. All right, and then I'm going to open up my compass. I'm going to put my point right here. Let's go ahead and give this a name. We'll call it A. Now I want to construct a segment that's twice as long as PQ. So open up your compass, put your point here, and put your pencil here. All right, and then you put your, once you've opened up your compass to this length of PQ, put your needle here and put a slash, and we'll call that C, and then put your needle right here and put a slash, and we'll call that, of course again I'm just freelancing it, and we're going to call that D. So the whole segment from A to D is 2 of these segments here. So segment AD is twice as big as segment PQ. Not too difficult, really. Okay, number 21. Now this one's going to be pretty tough, okay, so really pay attention. We're going to divide angle C into 4 angles of equal measure. Now think about that. If I were to cut this angle in half, and then cut this smaller angle in half, and then cut this smaller angle in half, I have 4 congruent angles. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 congruent angles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this angle right here, and I'm going to cut it, or I'm going to bisect it, and then bisect the smaller angle, and then bisect the smaller angle. So here we go. The first thing you do when you're bisecting an angle is you open up your compass to about half the length of the ray, and you go ahead and draw a circle through that area. Okay, so there we go. Let me go ahead and move the circle so it's right in the middle. There we go. Now we're going to call this point here A, and I guess we'll call this point here B. Okay, now we open up our compass to the length of AB, so put your pencil here and your needle here and make sure it's open up to the right length. Then put your pen right here, and of course I'm freelancing again, so be patient with me. You put your needle here and you would have a slash mark that goes here, then put your needle here, you have a slash mark that goes there, and so there's your intersection point. So you go ahead and draw that ray. That was not a very good ray. We'll try it again. All right, and so we're going to grab that, move it over, and then do a little erasing real quick, and there we go. All right, and so we have taken angle BCA and we have cut it in half. Now I'm going to give this new ray a letter here so I can call the angle a name. We're going to call it D. Now I'm going to take angle BCD and cut it in half. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get that circle back up here if I can. There it is. We're going to use this same circle. We may as well. It's the exact same circle. So what we're going to do now is we're going to open our compass up to half the length. Let me put a D back up here again real quick. We're going to open our compass up. And remember, here's the angle you're trying to cut in half. You're trying to cut this angle right here in half, so you'll have a ray coming up right there. Okay? So, having said that, we're going to open our compass up to about half the length of CD. Okay? And we're going to put our needle right here on C, and we're going to draw a circle. Okay? And when we do that, it should look something similar to this here. Okay? And so now that we've got our circle here, I did not want to do that. I want to move the circle. Get C right in the middle. Okay, very good. And now what I can do is this. I'm going to put a point here and we'll call it E. Open up your compass to the length of BE. Open up your compass to the length of BE because that's the angle you're bisecting is angle BCE or angle BED, same angle. And we're going to put a slash mark here and then put our needle here. There'll be a slash mark here, and there's their intersection point. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my ray. Okay, and there we go. Now, same thing over here. I'm going to open up my my compass to the length of AE. So put your needle here and your point here because you're bisecting this angle right here. This is the angle that you're bisecting. You're going to have a ray come right out here. Okay, so you open up your compass to the distance between A and E, and then put your needle on E, and you should have a slash right here. Then put your needle on A. You should have a slash right there, and then go ahead and draw the ray. And there you go. This angle here with a dot, and this angle here with a dot, and this angle here with a dot, and this angle here with a dot are all congruent angles. You've divided the big angle up into 4 angles, okay? All right, let's go ahead and move on. All right, number 22, construct a segment whose length is equal to the sum of these two lengths. Well, that's pretty easy to do. I'm going to draw a really long segment so I've got plenty of room, and make it a little longer still yet so there's no... So we have plenty of room, and now we're going to call this X. Now open up your compass to the length of AB. So put your needle on A and your pencil on B, and then pick up your compass and... Okay, students, sorry about that. I'm back. So you put your needle on X, and then you put a slash right here, and we're going to call that Y. Now segment XY should be the same length as segment AB. Now put your needle here on C and put your pencil on D, and then pick up your compass and put your needle here and put a slash over here, and we're going to call this Z. And segment YZ should be the same length as segment CD. So if I've got segment XY being the same as AB and segment YZ being the same as CD, then that means segment XZ from here all the way to here is a segment who is equal to the sum of this segment plus this segment here. Okay? All right, let's take a look at number 23. We're going to construct an angle whose measure is twice the measure of angle Q. And that's really not too difficult to do. In other words, we're going to copy an angle and then just copy the same angle again. Okay, so it shouldn't be too difficult to do. And I'm going to leave this up here. I think I'm just going to copy this angle. That's good enough. And then bring it down here and use this angle here. Okay. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to construct an angle whose measure is twice as big as this. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to open up your compass in such a way that it's bigger, about half of one of these rays, and we're going to draw a circle. Okay, and the circle will look something like that. And then we'll slide this over like that. All right, and there we go. And then what you do is you come over here and you draw your ray for your new angle. There's your ray. I should have done that first actually, but it's no big deal. And we're going to call this A, I guess. And of course this is still Q from up here, Q. And then I'm going to take my whatever circle I drew over here. I'm going to have my compass open to the same measurement. And I'm going to put that same circle over here with A being the center. And then open up your compass. We'll call this B and C. Open up your compass to BC, and then come over here. We'll call this D. Put your needle on D, and draw a slash through the circle, and we're going to call that point D. And then we're going to draw ray AD. All right, so here it comes, ray AD. Now, if you'll think about it for a second, all that we have to do is, students, really think this through. Please, students, watch this. I mean, think about it. I already have my circle here, and I already have my circle over here. There's no need to draw another circle. All that I have to do now is open up my compass to the measurement of BC, right? This distance right here. That's all that I have to do is open up my compass to the measurement of BC, like that, and then put my, let me get a point here, and then put my needle right here, and then come over here and put a slash. And when I put that slash right there and call that point E and draw that ray right there, if I can do that properly. There we go. What I did is I copied this angle right here, this angle right here. I copied it right here, and then copied it again right here. So I have two of these angles here. So listen carefully. Angle EAD, angle EAD is twice as big as this angle here. And so I did it. I constructed an angle whose measure is twice the measure of angle Q. All right, moving on. Now here, I'm just going to simply copy two angles because I want an angle whose sum, I want to copy an angle that's equal to the sum of these two angles here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy one angle and then copy the other angle. So here's my ray to start off with, okay? And then I'm going to draw this circle here. It's not too bad. And then this same circle, of course. We'll come right down here. And we're going to call this point C, and we're going to call this D and E. Open up your compass to DE, put your needle there, and get a little slash right there, and we're going to call that F, and we're going to draw CF. Now, students, please understand that what I did is I just copied angle DAE right here. Okay, now see if this makes sense. Please understand, students, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to copy this angle only I'm going to use this ray right here. Let me show you, just watch carefully and you'll see what I mean, okay? I'm going to go ahead and erase these letters. Now, understand this angle right here is completely congruent to this angle right here, okay? Now watch this carefully. I'm going to take this whole angle right here and I'm going to rotate it if it's all possible. Let's see if I can do that. There we go. Now I'm going to rotate it. Now watch how I do this. I'm going to rotate it so that now I've got this ray right here running horizontal. Why am I doing that? Well, because now I'm going to copy this angle, and when I copy it, please watch this, students. I'm going to copy it and put it right here on this angle, and then I've got one big angle that's the sum of those two angles. So I'm going to copy angle B. So the first thing I do is I draw my circle. I'm going to use the same circle. So I draw a circle using B for the center, okay? And then I draw that exact same circle down here, okay? And then I'm going to measure the distance between these 2 points here with my compass. And once I get my compass opened up to the distance between these 2 points here, then I'll put my pen right here, my needle right here, and I'll put a little slash right here, and then I'll draw this ray right here. All right? And there we go. So please watch carefully, students, if you would. What I have done is this. I copied this angle right here, okay? And I copied this angle right here, okay? So this really big angle that I'm highlighting in green, that angle right there, this whole entire angle right here is a sum of these two angles here, and I hope that makes sense. Okay, moving on, students, to number 25. All right, we're going to construct a copy of triangle ABC, and you're probably thinking, well, this is going to be really hard. It's actually really, really easy. Okay, now look, if you think that we're going to copy angles, you're wrong, and let me show you why. I can draw a real small equilateral triangle that has 60, 60, 60 angles. Now listen to me. I can then draw a really big equilateral triangle that has 3 angles of 60, 60, 60. So this triangle here has 60, 60, 60 angles. This triangle over here has 60, 60, 60 triangles. However, are these two triangles congruent? Well, not even close. One is much smaller than the other. So what I'm trying to show you is it really doesn't do any good to copy angles. You have to copy sides when it comes to triangles, okay? So please keep that in mind. So we're going to copy sides. So we have to copy this segment right here, AB, okay? So I'm going to draw a segment that is about this long here. Actually, I'm going to draw a segment that's longer than AB, like this. And then I'm going to pick up my compass, and put my needle here and my pencil here, and then section off that distance, which would be about right here, and I'm going to call that, we'll call this D, and we'll call this E. Now I'm going to draw a really long segment through point E like this, okay, much longer than AC, and I'm going to put that right there. Now I'm going to open up my compass to the length of AC. So I'll put my needle here and my pencil here, and then put my needle here. I'm just kind of guessing, of course, just freelancing it, and put a slash here, and we're going to call that point F. And then obviously, well, I shouldn't say obviously, because this segment here might need to swing around a little bit. I'm actually going to go ahead and make that really obvious. I'm going to do this. I'm going to grab this thing here, and it's not what I wanted to do. I'm going to take this and bring it up here like this. Just trust me, I know that's not exactly there, And now let's move this point right here to about right here. And then we'll put, and then we'll put F right here. Now, next, I want to copy segment BC. So I'm going to put a really long segment right here going through D, like this. Now watch what I do. Now I'm going to open my compass up to B, C, and then come down here and put my needle here and put my slash about right here, okay? Now what you have to do then, students, is really pretty simple, but what you have to do is these 2 points should be able to meet. If you'll bring this up, you're going to have to bring, it's not going to be easy to do. Let's see if I can put this all together here. Okay, that's good. Now what we're going to have to do here is bring this point up. If at all possible. Okay, I'm not able to get the memo pad to do this, which I thought I would be. Let me go like this and this and see if that will do it. Hold on just 1 second. What I'm trying to do, students, no, it's still not there. There. I wanted to just bring this end up, and I wanted to start bringing this end down until this point and this point met at that same point there, and then I knew I'd be totally good. Okay, another way to have done this would be just to copy a segment here, copy a segment here like this, and then copy a segment here going across, and then just simply bring this segment up and bring this segment down like this, and then make sure that as you do this, then these two would intersect right here. But again, the main thing I want you to learn from this problem is that you're copying sides of the triangle, not angles, okay? And you can play around with this and figure it out. It's not really too difficult, okay? And you're going to get another chance right now, because the next problem we're going to do, we're going to construct a quadrilateral like this. And so really, once again, shouldn't be too difficult. I'm going to make this a little smaller so we have a little more room to work with. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to first of all copy this side right here. Okay. Okay, students, on this one here, it's going to be a little different than a triangle. And on this one here, probably the best thing to do as I try to look this over here is look at it like this. We're not going to copy just sides. Now back here on the last example we did because we had a triangle. And remember, if 3 sides of a triangle are congruent then to another triangle, then those 2 triangles have to be congruent. But here we got a quadrilateral. So what I'm going to do is this, okay? I'm going to first of all copy this bottom segment right here, okay? So I'm going to call this A. And I'm going to pick up UT and put it down on this line. I'm going to do a very, very careful job. There we go. Because I want to make sure I get this exactly right. So using your compass, if you were to do this correctly, you should get a slash about right there. Okay, so I'm just trying to do this really well. All right, and we're going to call this B. So what I did, listen carefully, students, is I copied segment UT right here and I called it AB. Now think about something. Watch this for a second if you would, students. Watch this. If I get, now watch this, if I get this angle, see this angle right here, this opening right here, if I get that opening right there to match this opening perfectly, that's really good, because as soon as I do that, then I know how far to put this angle over like this, okay? And also, same thing over here. If I'm able to copy this angle right here, then I'm going to be able to know how far also to swing this line here, Okay, so these two angles here are really important. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do this and do this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this angle right here. Now we've done a lot of those. I don't think I'm going to take time and do that. You do know you would draw a circle like this, like we've learned before, and we've done this quite a few times now. Maybe I'll just do one of them for you. And then you take that exact same circle, okay, and you put it right down here like this. All right, remember, and then you open up your compass to this length here from here to here, and then put your needle here and put that mark like that, okay? And then you go ahead and draw that line. I made it really long on purpose because here's why. Now I'm going to pick up my compass and I'm going to open it to this length right here, UR, and I'm going to put my needle right here and then go up and then put a mark, and I'm going to call that C, okay? So now I have the right angle. This angle right here is the exact same angle as this angle here, and this length right here, AC, is the exact same length as UR, okay? Hopefully that makes sense. That's what you need to do on this problem, okay? Now, I'm going to come over here, and again, my drawing's not going to be to scale because I've not measured everything exactly right, but next, I'm going to copy this angle right over here, angle T. So I would put a circle around angle T like that, and then using that exact same circle, which is the same circle as this, I'm going to put this right here, okay? And then I'm going to open up my compass to this measurement right here, like that, and then I'm going to put my needle right here, and I'm going to put a slash mark about right here, and I'm going to go ahead and draw that line going up, okay? Like that. Not a very good line, but it's definitely sufficient, okay? And I made it extra long on purpose. And then, now I know that this angle right here is the exact same measurement as this angle right here. It's identical, okay? Now having done that, segment ST right here, I want to copy segment ST onto this segment right here. All right, so with that in mind, and again, my angles here are not, I mean, I'm just totally freelancing, so it's not even going to look close to the same object, but it'll be, I mean, it'll be decent, but because I'm not using a real compass. But if I now put my needle here on T and my pencil on S, and then come down here and put my needle here, and then put a mark here, I'm going to call that D, and then I'm going to connect CD, okay? And then theoretically, and of course, again, I've not used a compass, I've not used a straight edge, this object right here should be the exact same object as this one here, and it will be in your homework if you've done it exactly the way that I've done this, okay? Now let me show you one more thing. The last thing I wanted to say was this. You say, well, Mr. Earhart, your drawing's not even close to the one up there. True, but like, for example, when I copied this angle right here, please look at this. When I copied this angle right here, I didn't do a good job right here. Remember, I have no compass to go by. I have no straight edge. I'm just totally freelancing, to be honest with you. This should have been much more like that, okay? And then, of course, that point would be up here. And then this angle here, actually, now that I look at it, should have been a little more like this too. And then this segment here, AB, is not at all the same distance as UT. And so all of that comes into factor. But if you'll do what I've told you to do, follow these steps, you should get pretty much the same quadrilateral. Okay? I hope this homework help video has been a help to you.